Hello, my name is Dr. Ben Cisse, and this is Urban Biology, home of EOC Biology Review for all states. Today, the review is going to be on photosynthesis. However, before you start viewing this video, before you start taking notes from this video, I would strongly suggest that you get yourself a box of colored pencils, a pen, a pencil, and obviously a notebook. Okay? Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. So first, I want you to use two of your colored pencil, two of your colored pencil. And I want you to select one of the colored pencils and write the word photo, put that colored pencil down, and then write the word synthesis. And also put that colored pencil down. Photosynthesis. So in other words, what I'm saying, that you can take the word photosynthesis and divide it into two words. You have the photo part, and then you have the synthesis part. All right? Now use the same colored pencil you used to write the word photo. Draw an arrow from it, and right below that arrow, I want you to write the word light. Put that colored pencil down. Now go to the next colored pencil, draw also an arrow from there, and underneath, and I want you to write the word putting together. Putting together. So just by looking at the definition that I have, I can simply say photosynthesis in broad terms simply means using light to put something together. Or I can say you're putting together something in the presence of light. All right? Now, what exactly are we putting together? Because putting together seems like it's a broad term. You know, you and I want to know exactly what are you putting together in order for photosynthesis to happen. So in parentheses, I want you to write the words carbon dioxide, aka CO2, and also water, aka H2O. So in terms of photosynthesis, you are putting together two important inorganic substances. One of them is water, and the other one is carbon dioxide. But in order for these to actually be put together, to combine to make something, there has to be light. So the two important things that you need to know for right now, you need to have light, and you need to have carbon dioxide and water in order for photosynthesis to occur. Now, let's see how all of this unfolds. But before we do that, let me simply say that photosynthesis occurs not in all different types of organisms, but it only occurs in some organisms. To be specific, photosynthesis occurs in plants. Photosynthesis occurs in algae. And photosynthesis can also occur in some bacteria. So you have to know these three examples of organisms that can photosynthesize. First, you have plants. Secondly, you have algae. And thirdly, you have some bacteria that can photosynthesize. Now, the question is why? Why is it that photosynthesis is only relegated to these different types of organisms and not to all organisms? Well, the reason for that primarily is because they have a special structure that is called the chloroplast. Right? The chloroplast is found in the cells of these organisms, and in that chloroplast, you have a structure called a chlorophyll. I know I'm throwing too many words at you right now, so let's try to simplify all that I've said, okay? So make sure you have your colored pencils handy. So this is what we're going to do. In order for you to understand photosynthesis better, we are going to draw a leaf. A leaf is a structure on a plant where photosynthesis occurs. Chloroplast, on the other hand, is a structure in a cell where photosynthesis occurs. So in essence, I can say photosynthesis can occur in two places. I can say it can occur on the leaf of a plant, that's the whole plant, the whole organism, or I can say photosynthesis occurs in this structure called chloroplast of a cell at the cellular level. Okay, now what we're going to do now on the board so that you can better understand how photosynthesis occurs is to draw a leaf, because leaf is a structure where photosynthesis occurs. All right. Please make sure that you have at least 6 or 7 of your different colored pencils. Again, remember, in order for you to pass the end of course test in biology, you must do like I ask you to do. Okay. All right. I hope everyone is ready. I hope you already have your colored pencils out and ready to draw a leaf. Okay. All right. So this is what we do. Make sure you have at least, no, maybe 6 or 7 lines, blank lines. Nothing on those lines at all. Okay, because you're going to draw a leaf that's going to cover those 6 lines. All right. Okay, let's start. So you go down maybe about 4 lines down, and then you draw a straight line, and then go all the way to the top, and then slant it down. So in other words, you're drawing what looks like a mountain. Okay, what looks like like a mountain, basically. Okay, so you start from one line, you go all the way up, and then slant it all the way down. Now you draw the same structure that we just had, but instead of going up like we did a few minutes ago, now you're going down. But make sure you have a space between the first line and the second line. So I have a space, I'm going down, not up, and then I'm joining. So this looks like a leaf. To me, it does. I'm not sure whether you think it looks like a leaf to you or not. Okay, when you draw your leaf, make sure you have a space between this line and the bottom line. All right, now take that colored pencil and set it down for a minute. Now, leaf like us, we have veins. We have veins, and leaf technically also have a vein. Now, you and I know that a vein or vessels in your body are a transport system, so to speak. The blood goes through your vein, and not only the blood, you also have some organic and inorganic molecules such as food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, so forth and so on. They travel through your veins. Now, it's no different from plants. Plants also have a structure that is used to transport materials. So one of your colored pencils, I want you to draw a line. This is like a vein that is going clear across the plant itself. Now, I'm just drawing one vein, so to speak, on the plant, but there are several veins. All right, but I'm just drawing one. Okay, next, I want you to take that colored pencil, you put it down, and reach out for your next colored pencil. All right, so do the same like I did the first one. So you're going to draw a squiggly or a snaky line all the way across, okay, and then put it down. So far as you can see on the board, I have 2 veins that are already drawn in the leaf. Next, I want you to specifically reach out for your green colored pencil if you have not used it as yet. But if you've already used it, that's okay as well. All right, you can use any other color. Now take your green pen and let's go to the top. There should have been lots of space between the vessel that I have down the bottom and the line that's at the top. So you have a little space here. Now you're going to use your green pen and you're going to draw a structure. The structure looks like an oblong shape. So just draw what looks like a football shape or an oblong shape in that spot. Now obviously if you are not in the continental United States, like in place like Africa, like where I came from. When I use the word looks like a football shape, some of you may be saying, no, that does not look like a football shape. You are right. We're talking about the American football, okay, not the soccer type of ball. So this American soccer type of ball, so that's the diagram I want you to draw in this cell. I mean, not in this cell, but in this plant. Right? Now with the same colored pencil, I want you to put inside circles. All right, so you have one on top of that, another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle. So you have circles in this structure right here. So you have the oblong shape, and then you have circles inside this oblong shape. But that's not all. I also want you to put in dots in each of these circles that you drew. So put in dots in there as well. Now notice specifically all of them are green. Again, I said earlier, if you do not have a green pencil, that's okay. You can use any other color that you select or that you choose. Okay, so this structure right here, we're going to label later on, but let me just reference this structure as the chloroplast. The chloroplast has some other structures in there that we're going to label later on. You have the thylakoid, you have the granule, you have the chlorophyll. We're going to label that later on. But for right now, take that color pencil that you have and set it down and reach out for another different colored pencil. Okay, reach out for another different colored pencil. So what you want to do now is like us, plants also breathe. They exchange gases, just like you and I exchange gases. We take in oxygen and also let out carbon dioxide. We don't need the carbon dioxide, so it comes out. Plants love carbon dioxide. I mean, they cherish carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide to them is like one of the most important things that can happen for plants. But how do the plants get the carbon dioxide? Well, they have a nostril. They have a nose, so to speak, through which carbon dioxide has to go through. That nostril is found on the underside of the leaf. So with one of your colored pencils, you go down and draw the nostril. So there's a nostril, that's a nostril, that's a nostril. Listen, I'm only going to draw maybe 4 nostrils. You can draw 2 or 3, that's fine, but I'm just telling you there's a lot of nostrils now, a lot of holes, so to speak, at the bottom of the leaf to help the leaf breathe. But I'm only going to draw 3 of them at the bottom. Okay? All right, now let's see what is happening. Like I told you earlier, for you to understand how photosynthesis works, you need to know how the leaf works. Okay? Now, all of this cannot happen. The leaf can have all the noses that it wants or has. The leaf can have all the veins. The leaf can have all the chloroplasts. None of this matter at all if something is absent. And that something that's absent is called the sun. So let's go ahead and put the sun in there. You can put your sun to the side if you want to, either side or the bottom, it doesn't matter. But for me, I'm going to write my sun right here to the left of this diagram. So that's my sun. Maybe I'm going to write another one. Never mind. Okay, just over here, that's the sun. Okay, now this sun is important. I'm not sure how many of you recall earlier when we said you can take the word photosynthesis and you can split it into 2. You have the photo part and then you have the put it together part. Okay, so this is the photo part right here. All right, now let's see what is going on. Now the light is coming from the environment. The leaf has to have a mechanism to capture that light. That radiant light that's coming from the environment, the leaf has to have a mechanism to actually capture that light. And the mechanism that's in the leaf that helps capture that light is the chloroplast. So this green structure that you see here on the diagram is the chloroplast. So with your same color pencil that you have for the sunlight, I want you to draw your sunlight that is striking, is going directly to you can draw 3 or 4 rays of sunlight that is striking the circles that's found in the chloroplast. But in the circle itself, you have a structure called the chlorophyll. All right? So there's a structure called a chlorophyll. So let's label the chlorophyll. Okay, are you ready? Let's label the chlorophyll. So again, this green oblong structure is the chloroplast, but inside you have the circle. So one of these circles is called the thylakoid membrane. So that's the thylakoid membrane right there. Okay, that's just the circle itself. One of the circle is called the thylakoid membrane. All right. Now, when you take one circle, put it on top of another one, and on top of another one, then you have a big old structure. When you join the thylakoid and another thylakoid, or when you join several thylakoids, you don't call it thylakoid anymore. It has now a special name that's called the granule. Okay, so I'm going to draw one line, another line coming from both. Now that's called the grana. Now this is very important. All we're doing right now is drawing and labeling. That is important. In order for you to really know how the photosynthesis occurs inside the leaf, you must first know the different parts. Then you will talk about how the different parts contribute to photosynthesis. All right? Okay, now inside the thylakoid, there are dots. If you recall, we had dots that are inside each of these round structure. Those dots have a name, and that name is called the chlorophyll. So draw a line from those dots and chlorophyll. Okay, so that's the chlorophyll. So when we look at that structure itself, that one structure itself, we call the whole thing chloroplast. Inside the chloroplast, there are two main structures that you need to familiar yourself with. First, you have the thylakoid membrane, and then you have the grana. That's the grana right there. So that's the grana, which will be the combination of the thylakoid. So one and two thylakoid make a grana. They have this grana right here is made up of 1, 2, 3 thylakoid. All right. Okay, now in between the chloroplast, there is a structure or a space. All right, so you have a space right here, you have a space right here between the grana membranes. This space has a name. So please, with one of your colored pencils, so this way you can differentiate. Again, remember that's a space. So you got a space right here, clear space, you got a space right here. That space is called the stroma, S-T-R-O-M-A. Now, there is a reason why I want you to use a different colored pencil as you label that spot. You're going to see later on why that is so, okay? So now that we label this part, let's see if we can label the other part. Now, for the first diagram right here, use the same colored pencil you had before. For this line right here, okay, I want you to draw an arrow pointing to that line. So that arrow simply means that something is going to that line, okay? Basically, what I'm showing you here is water is being absorbed from the ground and it flows through this line and it's making its way to the chloroplast. That is one of the putting together. Remember we said that photosynthesis means you use a light and then you're going to put two important inorganic compounds together, which is water and carbon dioxide. So here is the water. The water is coming from the ground, but that water has to travel through a tube. So this is the tube or the vessel the water has to travel through. So go ahead and put your arrow and arrow and arrow, and it's going into the chloroplast, right? So we can put something together, all right? But the water is going everywhere. It's going to every part of the plant as well. So let me repeat. The arrow that you see here going is making its way to the chloroplast as well as to every part of the leaf as well as every part of the plant, all right? Okay, take that color pencil down and take that color pencil and put it down for a second. Now reach out for the same colored pencil you used earlier for this other vein. Okay, so this is a tube, this is a tube, tube is a space. I can technically say that my arteries is a tube. Why? Because it's a space through which something can go through. So this is also a space through which something can go through. So technically, yeah, I can call it a tube or I can call it a vein. Okay, so also what's going to happen is when the water goes in there, well, before that, let's take the same colored pencil that you have or any other colored pencil. Let's go first to the nostrils. Okay, we talked about one putting together. So this arrow means water. We're going to label that later on, but just know for right now, the arrow means water. So one of the things we're putting together is water. Do you recall what the other inorganic molecule is that we're putting together? If you say carbon dioxide, you're right. But carbon dioxide comes from the environment. Just like the sun is from the environment, you have carbon dioxide all over the leaf. The carbon dioxide has to find a way to go through the leaf and make its way to the chloroplast. All right. So with one of your arrow, with one of your colored pencil, draw an arrow. That's an arrow right here. That's an arrow. Sorry, I'm using the same colored pencil. Let me use a different colored pencil. So that's an arrow. That's an arrow. So this is carbon dioxide from the environment. You have lots of carbon dioxide in the environment, but they're going through right through that hole, right through that space. That's what they're going through, that hole right there, which is the same thing like your nostrils. So they're making their way, so keep drawing and draw and see what they're going. See where they're going? They're going directly to the chloroplast. So from the environment, carbon dioxide goes through this hole and makes its way to the chloroplast. So there are two important things going to the chloroplast that we talked about before, and that's the carbon dioxide and that's the water. Okay? Okay, so now they are going to the chloroplast. So what next? Now, as they go to the chloroplast, the sun that you see here is going to strike, and I'm going to write all of this for you, but just listen for right now. So the sun is going to strike the chloroplast, and inside the chloroplast you have you have the thylakoid, and in each of the thylakoid you have a chlorophyll. So the light is going to strike the chlorophyll, and once the light strikes the chlorophyll, you have enzymes inside the chloroplast that's going to react with the water and the carbon dioxide, and then something is going to be formed. Something's going to be made. Anytime you put something together, you have to make something. It is almost impossible not to make something when you put things together. So if I'm putting carbon dioxide and water together, I am bound to make something. All right. So there's something that's made in the presence of light that is made inside the leaf with another colored pencil now has to make its way out. All right. Whatever is made in here. And I will tell you, let me tell you right now what is made in here. What is made when you combine the carbon dioxide and the water and the light and enzymes doing their stuff inside the chloroplast, you produce what is called a glucose. Glucose is the food that plants need and that we also need. Why is that? Because the glucose has energy. Glucose is a food and gives you energy. Energy is what drives metabolism. Energy is what makes it possible for me to be flinging my hand left and right. Energy is what makes me possible to talk. Energy is what makes possible a plant to survive. All right, and that energy comes from food, and that main food is called glucose. So the food is made inside the chloroplast. However, the root and the stem and other parts of the plant needs that food. The leaf cannot just hold on to that food to itself. Otherwise, the whole plant will not survive as a plant. Why? Because other parts, of the plant need that food. It's like me eating food. If my food is only going to stay in my stomach, guess what? I probably have to succumb or die because my leg, my arms, my brain needed food. So it's the same thing with the leaf. Leaf is going to make the food called chloroplast, and then it's going to distribute that food to all parts of the plant. But how does that food come out? So with the same color pencil you had right here, which was red, mine was red, I'm not sure what your color it was, you draw an arrow. Okay, that's coming out. That's the arrow that's coming out. Now that arrow that's coming out, basically it means the food that's coming out. So this is the food coming out. So it's coming out and then it's going to all parts. It's going to all parts. So you see the arrow there telling you that the glucose that's made in the chloroplast is going to all parts of the plant. Let us briefly review before we go into the different steps of how the glucose itself is made. Okay, first there is one main structure in the leaf that leaves or plants or any organism needs to have in order for photosynthesis to occur, and that's called the chloroplast. So this whole structure right here is called the chloroplast. The green structure, the whole thing, that's made up of what? You got the thylakoid. Remember the thylakoid. Thylakoid is just one of the circles. And you have the grana. Grana is a combination of the different circles. And then have the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll are the structures that are found inside the grana, or you can say inside the thylakoid. Okay? Now, in order for the chloroplast to work, there are certain things you have to put together. One of the things you got to put together is water. How does water reach the chloroplast? Well, it has to be absorbed from the root. That's why you see the arrow. The arrow is telling you that it's coming from the root. Let me write the root over here. So the water is coming from the root, is going through this tube and then to the chloroplast, but also to all parts of the plant. All right. Now that tube has a name. The tube that carries the water is called the xylem. You pronounce it as like a Z, even though it's spelled with an X. All right. So let me go ahead and draw a line here. This is the xylem, X-Y-L-E-M. And write in parentheses the word water. So you know the xylem transports water throughout the plant. Okay? So the xylem taking water to the chloroplast. Now, the chloroplast is going to use the water, and you have the carbon dioxide that's going through these holes. Now, these holes that you see right here has a name, and that name is called the stomata. Now, don't be surprised that you see the word stomate. Anytime you see the word stomate, don't get panic. It's the same as stomata. One is plural, and the other one is singular. Okay, so you have a lot of those stomates, at the bottom of the leaf through which gas exchange takes place. All right. Then you also have this tube right here that transports the food from the chloroplast to all parts of the plant. Now this tube has a name, and the tube name is right here. This tube name is called the phloem. P-H-L-O-E-M. You combine the P and H and pronounce it as an F, so you just say phloem. Okay, so the phloem transports food or glucose throughout the plant. Okay, that is just a brief synopsis of what is happening in the leaf. So to recap, photosynthesis means using light and you combining two inorganic compounds together. In order for the leaf to use those inorganic compounds, they have to come from somewhere. The xylem transports the water all the way from the roots to the leaf and different parts of the plant. Also, carbon dioxide comes out from the environment, enters the stomata, and makes its way to the chloroplast, where it can be combined with water. Once the carbon dioxide and the water are combined by a chemical reaction that's taking place in the chloroplast, through enzymes and some other structures, you form what is called a glucose. Okay, you form what is called glucose. Glucose then travels through this pipe or this tube or this vein that we call the phloem. All right? Now, that ends the video for photosynthesis. The next video, which is video 2, will explain how all the structures, all of them coalesce, how they work together to form glucose, where the glucose is formed, and where photosynthesis takes place. Actually, there are two ways by which photosynthesis can actually end up producing carbohydrate. You have what you call the light-dependent reaction, and you also have what you call light-independent reaction. In the last minute that I have, the light-independent reaction, just so that you can have a heads up of what the next video is going to be. The light-dependent reaction, as the word says dependent, it simply means that that part of photosynthesis depends on light. If it doesn't have light, it will not work. The light-dependent reaction, simply what it does is the chlorophyll captures light, and then the light splits water into hydrogen and oxygen, and also ATP is produced as well. The light-independent reaction does not need light. It does not mean that it only works when it's dark. It simply means that it does not use light, period. So you can walk right now. Right now it's bright and sunny outside. Yeah, the dark independent reaction, also called the Calvin cycle, is working. But it simply does not need light in order for it to work. All right, that does it for this video, and I look forward to seeing you for video number 2. Bye.